Hey guys, I have a blank journal collection for you tonight, and I got a request to do one, so let me know if you have any other video requests, but I thought I'd show you some journals I've never shown you before, and then show you the other blank ones that you've seen. So this one I just got today. It says yay all day. It's just holographic and happy, unlike me, other than the holographic rainbow. But I couldn't resist it. I got a holographic binder and travel case too. I just love the pattern. But anyway, I could do that. I could just like stare at that all day. Anyway, so I got that one, and then this one I had been wanting for almost a decade, since 2008 or 2009. I finally got one of these. It's so just blingy, and it's just like the mid 2000s all over again. But Scotty dogs are kind of special to my family. One of my relatives had a sibling with polio, and the president with polio actually sent her family a Scotty dog on the train. So I thought that was, I really like Scotty dogs because of that. This lock is super heavy, so I just strung it on here so I wouldn't have to lock it all the time. And it's got some page decoration, and this takes up a lot of the page. But I wanted for this for so long. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just because it looks so opulent, and Juicy Couture used to be so popular when I was younger, so I never had one of those tracksuit things. I think I always wanted one, so I guess when I saw the journal, I always wanted one of those. And I finally got this year. I'd been wanting it since literally like 2008 or 2009. And yeah, this one's a vintage. And then there's a few others that are, I'm not sure if I'll use as journals or school notebooks, but this one I got in Tiny Town at Linens and Things before it was closing. Mostly just because I wanted something from Linens and Things because it was closing. But yeah, Linens and Things, large journal, Katya. And it's got the normal like cheap journal paper in it. So I'm not sure if I'll use this for a theme journal or like school notes or what. But there's that one. I've had that since like 2008, I think, 2009. I think 2009. But yeah, then there's this one I've had since I was a young teen. I decorated my childhood bedroom, I think in like 9th grade, with Mary Englebright, and my friend decorated hers like all out. She painted her furniture. She had vintage handkerchiefs everywhere. Hers was decked out, Mary Englebright, but I had a few things, like a few posters, and then this and a pen. And this is mostly, it's kind of narrow. I guess I used it for just school and life notes and tore them out many years ago, but I've never filled a spiral ring journal as a normal daily journal before, so I'm not sure what I'll use this for. But it's got cute little things on it, and I still have that pen, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of squeaky when you touch it. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'll use it for, but there's that one. And then this one I've never shown you. Not really sure why, but I got this in 2003, and it was a really like crap year. So I was trying to get into journaling back then, and that didn't work out. And I wrote a handful of pages in here, maybe 10, and actually in like some different languages. It was kind of a bizarre time of life, but I still have those pages. I tore them out years ago, thinking I would just get rid of this and other journals that didn't really work out, like that I never really kept or stuck to. But for some reason I kept this anyway, and those pages are in this other journal that I've got. That's kind of a lavender journal, but from another failed journaling attempt. Like I was trying to get into journaling with that purple journal. I don't know if I've ever shown you there. But I've got the pages that I wrote in here still, like the 10 pages or however few it was. I put in another journal. If I ever use this, I think I kind of want to use it when my life's going good, so I can kind of just show that, I don't know, the pages that I'll glue back in here if I use it was kind of rough, but eventually I had a happy life. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I could show you details. I really like Asian architecture and design. I've got more like Asian wall art and paintings and Asian themed furniture than my roommate from China. She's kind of entertained by that fact. But it's got stuff like this, and she translates all this, like everything in my house to make sure it doesn't say like, haha, stupid American or something on it. My foreign language abilities are pretty much crap. So yeah. But yeah, there's this one. And it's pretty small too. It's the normal kind of cheap journal paper, but it's really pretty. I'm glad I didn't throw that out just because I, didn't stick with it or anything. Anyway, there's this one that an old friend, actually my childhood best friend, gave me in 2008. And it's got a ring in it, and I really like these colors together. I wrote a few pages in here saying like we'd hung out that night, and she gave me this. It was like our Christmas activity together. So I have a page from back in 2008 or 2007 in here. Yeah, 2007. So I've had this almost a decade this Christmas, which is really bizarre. And eventually I think I'll use it. I don't really know her anymore. Like, we don't live near each other, have really any, we don't run into each other or anything. But it's really cool to have, I don't know, a few notes from something, from an old friend. And I mean, I wrote them myself. I wrote what we did that night, so it's kind of fun to have a few pages from the past in here. I've never used a spiral bound, so I'm not sure. We'll see if I like it. But I like that it's like a covered spiral bound. And that. Then this one is from the 90s. It kind of looks like 90s style, but this one I took to the Olympics. I mean, I wasn't in the Olympics, but I went to the Olympics to volunteer with it's like youth thing, and I wrote that year. Every year we did like a charity trip that summer, so I have like 3 years worth of charity trips that I wrote about in here, so it's already like this much filled. But it's kind of neat. And I had, every year we traded journals. Like, the youth leader that was kind of vaguely involved with us got everyone a journal before we left for our trip. So this is the one I picked out of that stack, and we each wrote a note to each other. So I've got some notes from old, like, people from my past here, which is kind of cool. I mean, I wish I'd done people in the past, like, had different relatives write notes in my journals over the year, but I didn't. But anyway, some childhood kind of casual friends in here, and former travel buddies. But I was thinking about using these old kind of childhood, early teens journals, and just to kind of like figuratively and literally chose to close that chapter of my life. But I'm using one now, that kind of bluish purple one that kind of looks like sand, and it's just it's not really overly nostalgic, but I don't think I'd want to do a few in a row. I don't say that too often. But anyway, this one, and I was kind of looking at the old brands. Like, this one is Markings, and so is this. And my childhood diary with that, it's kind of a cat bear thing. The main childhood diary that I filled for a number of years was Markings too, and it's kind of interesting that I didn't really think I'd heard of that brand. And I remember back in, I think it was 2008, someone posting like, there's a cheap moleskin alternative at Walmart. It's by Markings brand. I'm like, Markings, what is that? But some of these are actually that brand. This one's, well, C.R. Gibson. It's the same company, but I think this one's, yeah, this one actually says Markings too, and this is from the 90s. So it's kind of interesting to see how brands, even sometimes we heard of, even if we don't think that we had. I know this video is kind of slow, but so was life. Anyway, this one's also from high school. I went, I stayed at a college one summer semester of high school, and so my mom sent me this journal with me, and I wrote so much. I wrote literally nothing. And it's got weird paper, and the texture that used to bother me, so I finally Mod Podged it, and now it's fine. But I do have a few old add-ins that I've kept receipts, and I think a few school-related things in here. So eventually I want to use this. It's got some nostalgia in there, because I at least added a few things into here, and an old dorm room key. It'd be kind of amusing if it still worked. But anyway, and there's this one. Not sure if I've shown before either, but an old boss gave this to me almost a decade ago, and the boss was trying to be encouraging and stuff, and said like, this was everyone got a Christmas gift, and I got this one, and the boss was like, every good writer needs a good journal. So I wrote that in here, and a few notes about my life at that point. I'm saving to use this for some kind of special time. But I love Bombay Company. That was my favorite store in the mall, and it closed. But they have an online store now. They do have some retail stores in Canada, but I really liked that, and Sharper Image, and what was that store? I think it was like National Geographic store or something. It was some sciencey store. I used to love stores like that in the mall, and like malls used to have, a toy store and a bookstore, and there was so much variety. Now it's just like, meh, clothes. Like maybe a candle store if you're lucky in that mall. But anyway, this one I got this year too. The owl one. This thing smells really good. It's got the weird paper edge. I don't really like that, but I said that kind of, I don't like that. Oh, well, the thing rips, so I guess I can show you. It just gets all over everything. It just feels weird. I don't. But the paper's nice and it smells good. It's really kind of comforting looking. So I'm gonna use that at some point. And this one, check it out. So Crystal had said something about like I should put an eye in there, so I finally did, and that just made this journal really fun for me. This thing is huge. That's what she said. But this thing is really heavy. I'm kind of waiting for the right time too. In Tiny Town, I used to have actual locks like this. The house was really old and everything was original. I had like the original oven from the 50s or 60s, and now it's kind of coming in style. But anyway, this kind of reminds me of that just because the locks were so old. Then this one is unique. I haven't seen anyone else with this one. This one was really hard to find. This thing is also huge. So I'm kind of waiting till I get on my writing kick so paper this huge doesn't feel like it's taking forever. But I did add in, I almost used it earlier this year. I put in a pocket and a pony. Pony. My friends and I used to say like private ponies on 12th Street. We cannot say the word pony without saying pony. And I guess I just did. But usually like we have to really think about it to be able to say that word normally. So yeah, I put stickers in here earlier in the year, and it does have a few kind of decorative add-ins. Okay, I'm not really sure if I added in. I always collage, well, I don't always, but a lot of the time I'll add in like stuff like my neighborhood name or collage my address or like my community name, like local restaurants and stuff. It has a few pages like this where it's just this clear thing and some decorativeness. So yeah, then there's this one, also huge. This one's really tempting for next, and still not really sure what about this lures me in. But there's that. This little tiny guy. I haven't used a tiny journal like this in almost 4 years, I think. I used to use pocket moleskins most of the time up until fall 2013. That started hurting my hands. Branched out into larger stuff, and I ended up with I kind of went overboard on blank journals. But I did clean out a lot of my journals in recent years to try to make them be ones that excite me, and ones that just I could see myself using, and like they have something to keep them closed, and the paper's fine, and like I don't have to modify them too much to make them what I want. But I've got this vintage Sanrio one, Sanrio bear, and it's got a few different colors of paper. Well, there's the other color, and bears on each page. And then Spotty Dotty. And Lisa Frank. I got this year. I have a matching pencil case for these two, and this one is just so fun. I'm going to use this for room decoration for a while. That's not my info. I don't really know. I just bought it. And it had like a few filled in pages, but I'll cover them or something. Or rip them out. But yeah, that one. And this one, check this out. It's colorful. And it lights up. Okay, it's not that bright, but in a dark room it's like disturbingly bright. But the cover on this is just gigantic. It's like almost the size of the paper. But it's got super decorative. These Lisa Frank ones were really tempting to use next too. I think I want something with nicer paper for a while, since my current one isn't a old vintage one. The paper's just kind of average. And on to the more recent ones. So I've got this Etch-a-Sketch one, and the pages in here are detachable, but it was still just so fun I couldn't pass it up. Those are erasers. And I've got a Tetris one, also couldn't resist. This one's pretty small. But these are just so 90s and like my childhood. Cassette tapes. Okay, so if you're not old like me, this is a cassette tape. No, it's not. It's a VHS tape. I'm so old I can't remember what it is. And I used to watch VHS tapes as a kid. And eventually we had DVDs, but VHS tapes are pretty much my childhood. I put Lisa Frank in here. So yeah, this one, pretty excited to use. And that's kind of why I cleaned out all my journals. Like the ones I've got now, excite me and just are such a good match for me. Like, this is my favorite show. I have a roommate agreement that's literally like 8 pages. It's just like contract law heaven. And it's not as bad as Sheldon's, but I just relate to Sheldon in a lot of the social ways, life difficulties. So yeah, this one, and oh my gosh. All right, this one. How could I not show this one first? Lisa Frank, the cheetah one. It's just so bright. Perfection. And then it's like my like 1990s kid inside / outside. It's just like trying not to squeal in the video. Milky pen, and it's got black paper inside. And this is how, what are those things called? Jelly Roll Stardust or whatever they're called. The neon ones, that's how they look on there. If you color in, it kind of looks a little, like this paper just is kind of, probably just kind of old. And it's not like a pure color on top, but this one's just gonna be, I'm so into gel pens, it's just gonna be really fun. So yeah, I have some vintage Milky Leonard pens to use with that too. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, here's that cassette tape. This tiny little thing. Yeah, I really like that they're all just something I really like. There's a few that are still kind of debating if I want to keep forever. And that's kind of why I was cleaning up my stuff out, is I don't want to end up with this, a kind of generic journal that doesn't really do it for me, or that doesn't work with my journaling style. Like the paper just isn't for me, or the texture or whatever isn't for me. I don't want to end up with keeping it for so many years and then it being nostalgic, and then I feel obligated to use it like some of the ones I showed in the first part of this. So anyway, this one is really pretty. I was thinking about using this for a hobby journal, but I kind of already have a hobby journal, so I'm not sure if I'm really going to fill that many journals with hobby stuff. But this one is pretty. This is kind of what I was thinking about not keeping. I like the sweater. It's a soft cover, and it's just, I don't know, like this is cute and I like it, but it doesn't, this one makes it, like, this one just kind of makes me try not to squeal. So, I don't know, it's just, journals are so tempting, especially when you find a, cheap one and you're like, oh, that's pretty, and it's kind of hard to turn them down when you want a happy, like had a rough day. Anyway, these I've had since fall 2007 or early 2008, and these were limited edition moleskins. They had different paper in it, but I modified them I took out the insides and I put ruled paper in it, but I just haven't used pocket-sized journals in a while, handful of years, but I think I'll eventually use those. And these are also from then. I have a few pages from spring 2007 in here, so these are kind of fun. But yeah, this one I really like the vintage library theme of that one. And I decorated this back in fall 2007 spring 2007. So it's kind of interesting. These were these Jelly Roll glaze stickers that you color in with the gel pen and it dries to become like a normal sticker. Those are kind of fun. And then this one I modified to be a Minion. Kind of obsessed with Minions, monsters, and Lisa Frank and everything 1990s. Another one, and it's like this silk cover, so it's different. I wish this was bigger. It's like a little pocket one, but I wish it was normal size. I probably would have, actually I'm pretty sure I definitely would use it by now. But I do have this one. It took me forever to find the perfect orange journal, and I did, and I found one. This is an orange moleskin, and this one's tempted me. I was tempted to use it last year, but the paper does, I know a lot of people say, oh, the paper changed. Somehow it does feel different to me too. I'm not sure if it's just because I've used a lot of journals with thicker paper since I've used moleskins 4 years ago, or if it really has changed. I haven't really looked into it, but this one is really the perfect shade of orange. And then there's this one. This one I'm kind of debating if I think this one will really do it for me. I was going to decorate it with, I don't know, local sightseeing or travel stuff and that kind of thing, but I haven't really done that sort of thing in a long time. And there's no closure to it. I have to add an elastic, and I don't want too many journals I have to modify to make it, usable for me. But this little one here, this one was another one that's really tempting to use next or in the next few. It's a Toy Story one, I guess. Well, just undo that again. It's got cute little hearts in it. I've got some Toy Story stickers and washi tape to add in here. You've Got a Friend in Me. And this one, and a glow-in-the-dark bead from when I was a kid. And stickers from when I was a kid too. But yeah, that one. And this one is like the perfect purple. I love lavender. This reminds me of my prom dress so much that I used this a handful of pages. It's a kind of a travel journal in fall 2014. I don't know why I'm checking when it's matter. But yeah, fall 2014. And I was going to use it as a normal daily journal after that, but something else just kind of spoke to me instead, and I didn't use it. But I've got a picture of my prom dress that pretty much matches this in here, and an old napkin from prom and stuff. So this one's a one that I'll definitely use at some point. And then this one, I kind of don't like. I got this one recently, and it's a limited edition moleskin. I covered up the Rolling Stones part. I like their stuff. I mean, they're classic band. I just haven't really listened to their stuff enough to want that on the cover here. And yeah, I glued a few pages together and it didn't really take, I mean, it's not meant for paint, so I can't really blame it, but it didn't take paint well. And something about it I just don't like. I'm not sure if it's the fabric cover or what, but I like the color, sort of. And it also got paint on it, like right the day I got it, so that kind of irritated me. But I put this back in here, and eventually I might use it as a collage journal or something if I ever get into collaging again. But yeah, this one here is special. It was like a special splurge for me. What is that? Oh yeah, weird. It's reflecting the jewelry that's over there. I have a wall necklace holder thing. But anyway, this is my grandma's earring I stuck on there, and sometimes these fall off, so if it's like completely irreplaceable, I wouldn't stick it on here. But I had a number of her costume earrings I put on different journals because I had enough of them. I turned a few into Christmas ornaments and necklaces and put on my charm bracelet too. But yeah, this one is one that I really wanted to lock one for a long time, and I wanted something from Tea & Co. forever, for years. So I got this one almost 4 years ago. I've been saving it for the right time. So there's that. And trying not to scratch that up. This one I got from Ross. My friend had a gift card at Ross, and I was checking out, and she just was like, "Here, use this." So she kind of gave me this or a candle, and then I got her like a movie ticket later, but she still like gave me one of the two items because the movie tickets were kind of cheap. But anyway, this do what you love thing. This could also be a hobby journal too, or a daily journal, but it's kind of reminds me of like 1990s pencils with the, not sure you can really see, but the metallic detailing. I mean, it's got, I don't even know what you call that. I mean, it's not just like straight up gold. It's like that textured gold on 1990s pencils, but it's got golden sides, and I'd been wanting a gray journal, so it's like something kind of soothing looking, and this looks like wrapping paper. So yeah, I guess I could show it. Ooh, crap. And so this one, I used a blue one like this. I really got on a kick of using like this type. It's about 5x7, and it's got decorative page edges. I used a few of these in a row, and I was kind of waiting to use this one until it's been a while since I used that blue one, just like it, because it's blue. I think it has been like 2 years now, maybe 3, so it's kind of been a while. I could use it now, but it's very ornate, and gold and burgundy and kind of sage green are my living room colors, so I was kind of tempted to use that while I have those living room colors here. This one was another one that I'd been trying to find for like 2 years. This is a Piccadilly one it's like sand, I think is the color, but sand I couldn't find anywhere, so I finally found someone who was willing to special order this thing for me. Yeah, sometimes certain colors and designs just lure you to it, even though you're not really sure why. This one's just plain. Yeah, I figure this is probably like half a decade worth of blank journals. I'm not really sure how many journals I fill anymore. I think like my most was maybe, I want to say like 9 a year or something, 8 or 9. But usually I think last year was maybe 7, and this year will probably be maybe 6. So I think this is at least half a decade, maybe more than that, of journals. I mean, some of them are kind of tiny, like those little pocket ones. So I figure those won't take as long as a normal one, but it is kind of a lot. But I do like looking through these and just having something to look forward to, even if it's just a blank journal that I picture myself having a life that I feel like documenting in the future, having a life at all, and like having a place to keep them and having a place to live, not be homeless, and just having a life that I want to remember. So that's kind of part why I like having blank journals. This one I got, let's see, 2013. My friend and I went on a random road trip to, I think it was Arkansas. We went on a few random road trips. We had to go pick up a dog. And it was with this like group she volunteers for. So we went to go pick up this dog, like a ridiculously long road trip. And on the way back, we're like, why don't we go somewhere? So we found this writers group, and we went and got notebooks at Barnes and Noble, like on the way there. On the way back from our road trip, we went to Barnes and Noble, then went to the writers group. So we've been up for like a ridiculously long time. It was just really fun. And in here, the writers group, you're supposed to write about what you're afraid of. So I've got a few pages of my fears in here. Let me know if you have any video requests, like if you want to see how I journal fear. I don't know. I kind of want to show some like a deeper, meaningful entries and stuff. I don't know if anyone wants to see deep and meaningful, but anyway, this one I sprayed with perfume like 3 or 4 years ago, and it still smells. It smells like okay, that smells really strong. Burberry Brit still. Another one I'd sprayed with like Chanel No. 5, and it ended up after I used it just smelled like Chanel No. 5 and glue sticks. So if you're gonna spray your journal perfume with normal perfume, not body spray, kind of go easy on it, because it could smell forever. And these journals have even been in like hot rooms, like in just cold rooms, like nothing is making it smell less strong. But anyway, this one's I got spring 2007, and it's got rainbow thread. And I glued these things back on. They were kind of coming off since this thing's so old. Oh, it's got rainbow paper too. So this one's tempted me to use it a few times. I found this one a few years ago here. For a long time I thought I'd just gotten rid of it, but I found it in an old storage trunk and an old storage box thing. And it's got a few notes from 2007 in here, so that's kind of a fun little thing. Like I was writing where I got it and some of the people I used to know back then I don't know anymore. So this one's kind of a neat nostalgic type thing. Then let's just stick with nostalgia. So these 3 are also from spring 2007. I used one of these, I forget their names, but it was like a gray one with, kind of looked more like this. I used that one in 2007. I filled it, I didn't really add in stuff, but the elastic on these used to be a little bit tighter. I guess I wasn't careful, so that popped off and I had to hot glue it back on. So that's kind of why I hadn't used these. The elastic, it feels a bit tight for me, but it's kind of loosened out over the years, and they're modern ones. The elastic is great. Like this one I got a little over 2 years ago, and the elastic is just like perfect on this. But these older ones, the elastic's a little bit too like it didn't have enough give for me. But anyway, I do have summaries of my life in spring 2007 in these, and I also have added some notes since. So like it'll say like, I live at so and so, I do this, this is my school, this is my job, and like then on the other page I'll fill it in and put like 2017, and I'll put an arrow and point to the 2007. So these have some fun pages from my past in them, and these are really pretty. This one I really like, but this one's probably my favorite out of them. So there's those. And then this one I got for one of the, I've done Times Square New Year's for over a decade off and on, but I've done it so many years that I tell people that they're like, why? Like, why would you do that? But it's just so much, a million people celebrating together. There's nothing like that. And a free street party. Like, there's nothing like that in the world. It's not for New Year's or really anything else. So that's just my favorite thing. I've watched the Times Square events or been there every single year of my life. So anyway, this one, I did Times Square again that year. This was from like 2014/15, that New Year's, and I took a few weeks off and I worked nights and I played around the city during the day. So this one reminds me of that. I got some old confetti. They drop over 2 tons of confetti on the people in the Times Square thing. So yeah, and then streamers, and they throw out like balloons. Like, and one guy screamed, he's like, "I've got balls," because they throw out balloons and balls and like just all sorts of random crap, and they throw confetti at you. And you know that they're like saying in the windows, like, haha, we're literally throwing balls at these people who are standing there for 12 hours in the cold. If you leave, you can't get back in. So you have to stand there for 12 hours in the cold. And sometimes the corrals, the NYPD, sometimes let you sit and sometimes they don't. So if you go, be prepared to freeze and not drink for 12 hours, like not drink anything for 12 hours because you can't leave your corral. And to have a bunch of random crap thrown down at you. It's just magical. I don't know, something about it is just addicting. So yeah. I'm addicted to the Times Square event. It's just like there's so many people, over 1 million people in a small part of town who are just cheering on the new year and hope, which just is magic. So this one, I like butterflies too. I had a thing for butterflies in high school, just the symbolism. So eventually I used that one. And then this one, this little pretty thing, I want to add an elastic or something to it. It's got nothing to keep it closed. But that one, crap. This camera stand really sucks. This one I've had since I think 2013, and I was trying to use this as like a nighttime bedtime journal, but that lasted maybe like 10 pages. But I've got a few notes in here from an old roommate who I called him Footsie. He was a foot surgeon. He in medical school to be a foot surgeon, and he was just one of the most chill people I've ever seen. I had someone coming to look at his room, and it was like a last minute thing. And I was just going to show that person, like, you know, the rest of the common areas. But I was like, maybe this guy wouldn't mind. And he did. And he was like, oh, yeah, come on in. He's like, wasn't bothered at the last minute. Us seeing the room and stuff. And we had this movie producer who wanted to live here. He was older. And he came to the door at the same time Footsie would just happen to be coming home. and the producer was like, you planned this out so you could give a reference, and I'm like, yeah, we totally planned it out. And Footsie had actually heard of this movie producer that wanted to live with us. He'd heard of his movie, and he was kind of like, it wasn't very good. But anyway, Footsie was just so chill, and which is probably why he was in medical school, because he just has like a natural ability with people. But anyway, this one has a few notes from then, so I don't know, sometimes writing in a journal and then putting it away for a long time can taint a journal, but sometimes it's kind of like a fun little add-in if it's not too dark or too many pages. It is a soothing pattern, so I'll eventually use that. And yes, I do call these people their nicknames for their face, Footsie. And we've had such a random combination of people living with me. I had like a Miss America. I called her Miss America. She was in Miss America pageant. Like, she was literally in that pageant. I had Japan girl, Rice, the girl from China. She made rice for breakfast. Like, she made rice all the time. She's very no rice. I like rice. That's pretty much what I ate every day of my childhood, but she liked to eat more than me, so I called her Rice. I called one girl Water Girl because every few hours, she was a nurse, every few hours, even at night, she would go get water, like 3 times a night. I'm like, how does this girl sleep like that? But anyway. And then one person, he made a mistake of driving us to a movie, so I started calling him Taxi after that. But he's also a tax accountant. Anyway, this one I got with my grandpa's Christmas gifts, and he was not around anymore, so this one's gonna be special to use at some point. Probably a long time from now. This one I've had for a long time too, and the string is it's just kind of like stretched out and kind of gross, but the journal itself has some kind of iridescent stuff on the trees, and it's got trees on the pages, and I really like the colors are really soothing. I really like the colors. And the pattern, I kind of like trees too. I like burning them down. Just kidding about burning trees down. I guess I kind of cut some tree down. I'm not sure what part of these are like recycled. I've never really. Anyway, pretty tree journal. I really love this color, so that's kind of part of what lured me in. And then this one, sprinkles. I have some sprinkle washi tape too. But yeah, this one is really cute, and I thought it would tip me. I thought I would have used it by now, but I don't know if it's just too peppy or what. But it is really cute, and it's also the size. If it's gonna be this tall, I prefer like narrow or like this wide. But I want to say it's about 6 by 8, 6.5 by 8 or something. It's huge. And then, crap, my beverage. It was like an odd combination of words. My beverage did not spill. I have swift reflexes. Not really. I was impressed. I had so much like crap around it that it couldn't fall over. My beverage couldn't. These two journals I've had probably the better part of a decade. And these are jacket journals on a random log from one of those children's diary things. But these are jacket journals I put in just normal refills for, and they kind of take up a lot of room for a small amount of paper, but they're really cute, and I've had them so long that now they're kind of nostalgic, and I'll end up using them at some point. I put this on here. Well, vintage Sanrio thing I got when I was a kid. Just fun little things, and I think that's actually it. This is so long. Okay, anyway, I hope you like seeing my blank journal collection. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to see. It kind of feels like it's been too recent to do another used journal collection, but let me know if you have any ideas, and thanks for virtually hanging out with me. Alright, and there's one last look. It's my camera stand. Alright, yeah, this is gonna get worse. Have a good night, bye.